TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Hey gang, welcome in. It is Tuesday the 27th of August already. And my name is Scott Webb, and I appreciate everybody being here. Looks like we're getting off to a good start. We got quite a few people on the line. Daniel Berry says hello. Hey, Dan. Welcome in. I appreciate it. Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights. Way to go. So today's Tuesday, and, yesterday we passed out a few plays and did pretty well yesterday on the show. Today, I've got quite a few to talk about. Yesterday I broke down all of the games. I'm not going to break down all of them unless somebody asks me a question on some of them, which is great. I mean, I obviously this show is really to try to help and create different looks and different ideas and suggestions and different things about the games. So we're not going to waste a whole lot of time today. I don't have a lot of precursor stuff to talk about because the game started at 6:40 and it's already 6:15, 6:20ish. So let's start getting into some of this stuff. Yesterday, one of the games I talked about was the Chicago Cubs, and they were playing Pittsburgh, and they didn't have the best of the pitching matchup yesterday, and they still won the game. And we talked about that, and we're going to do that again today. We're going to talk about the Cubs because I think you have Justin Steele on the mound, and he's going up against it's on the tip of my tongue. Jared Jones, and Jones is coming off the injured list. So one of the things that you got to watch for when the guys come off the injured list is what kind of pitcher are they, and he's a flamethrower. Jones, he's a 97 mile an hour fastball guy. So and he's going to require a lot of command and control. Now we talked about a couple of weeks back, and I showed you how to go look at certain things in Fangraphs. And one of the things that I did for Jared Jones is I wanted to know, what he's done in his rehab starts. His first rehab start was just so. He didn't pitch that much. He pitched in AAA. He didn't go to AA or single A. He was in AAA. So the level of competition was pretty good. And I think he gave up like 1 or 2 runs in his first time out. He didn't pitch very many innings, maybe 3 innings, something like that. Second time out, he got hit up a little bit. I think he pitched 4 innings, had like 5 runs he gave up, that kind of thing. But his last start before he came up here, he pitched 5 innings, gave up no runs, and struck out like 10 guys. So he's ready to go. So I'm not anticipating Jared Jones being not the Jared Jones that you had seen in the past. So I think he's going to be good tonight. So having said that, though, there's my number on this game, which is what leads me to get there. My number on the game is the Cubs minus 144, and I think the Cubs right now are minus 119, something like that, 115, 119. So how do we get to 144? And here's how you get there. The Cubs are currently in my numbers here. They are 531 winning percentage, 86 win type team. Fangraphs has them at 81. Baseball Prospectus has them at 82, and then they get some extra stuff because base runs. They've been an unlucky team. So in other words, they've lost 4 games that they shouldn't have lost based on the performance and the sequencing of events. So theoretically, they're an 86 win type team, so a little bit over 500. And that's what it shows, 531. And they're playing the Pirates, and the Pirates are 77 wins. But they're a team that has been a little lucky with sequencing, and base runs knocks them down to 74. So you got a gap of 12 wins from one team to the other, and that's going to create a pretty decent spread margin to begin with. Then when you factor in the idea that you're bringing on a pitcher in the quality of Justin Steele is a 3.0 projected WAR pitcher, and Jared Jones is going to be lucky if he gets to a 2. Now, the reason that he won't get to a 2 is because he missed the time and he hasn't built up and and that kind of stuff. He could be up there just as much as Steele is. But in this particular case, in the way I broke it down and kind of looked at it, over the last 28 days, Justin Steele's been pretty good. He's got a SOPS plus of 63. So that's him controlling the opponent's offense, right? So, and then it's graded down to a 100 scale. So anything for a pitcher below 100 is good. And in this case, he's 37% better than an average pitcher at controlling the opponent's offense. Now, having said that, let's look at the opponent's offense for a second. This is the Pittsburgh Pirates. They rank 25th in offense. There's only 30 teams. So 25 out of 30, well, that's not very good. So they're not very good on offense. Isolated power, they rank 26th. So the things they're actually trying to do, they're 26th at, hitting doubles and home runs and extra bases. They're not very good. And right now they're minus 18% compared to an average offense. They have 3 guys that are kind of pulling over 1 WAR on offense and 4 guys that aren't. So they're kind of flat. They're a minus 0.6 when you grade out all their hitters when it comes to the WAR number. But that's a far cry from what Chicago is. Chicago is the number 2 ranked offense in baseball right now. They are number 4 in isolated power, and they are 56% better than an average offense. So these AAA lineups that Jones was facing, this ain't it. And these are guys that are ready to go. Amaya is 6.5 WAR, Suzuki 5.6, Crow Armstrong 4.6, Happ 3.1. They got a lot of guys driving the bus. I mean, a lot of them. 5 guys over 1 WAR and only 2 guys kind of pulling away. They score 18.4 offensive WAR points by their 9 guys in the lineup. So it's like 18-0. It's a dominant, super dominant edge on offense for the Cubs. Now, I will say that anytime you have stuff like this, there's always got to be that little caution in your shoulder or whatever, that little guy that sits there is the devil's advocate guy. Quality pitching and really good pitching will stop good hitting. It will. Now, I will say that I'm not sitting here going to the degree in which I think that Jones is going to do that. A, this is first start off the disabled list. B, the most he's thrown so far has been those 5 innings the last time he started. So I don't expect him to go more than 5 innings anyway. And the bullpen, it's been pretty good for Pittsburgh. Right now, their bullpen is 39 innings, 30 hits, 8 walks. So that's pretty good. It's been pretty good. So I expect the pitching to be decent for Pittsburgh. But I don't expect them to be able to hit and keep up with the pressure of what the Cubs can put on them, and especially at the price point that you're getting them at. So what I'm saying is that when you look at this number and you go, hey, the Cubs are like minus 115, minus 119, but they ought to be minus 145, then you go and say, I got value. That's a play. I'm playing the Cubs. And I think that's what you should do here. I think you should be on the Cubs at 119, and I don't know if that's still the number. Let's look real fast. Cubs 122, 121. So it's starting to go up. So get on that one. It's 120 right now. and as long as you get on before, say, 1:30 or something, you're good. Justin Steele's been really good, so I expect that to continue, and I expect Pittsburgh to have trouble hitting. It's just the way they are. They got O'Neal Cruz. He's sort of a budding star for them, and that's about all they got. I mean, I get it. They got Brian Reynolds, and he's a consistent player, but he's not the guy driving the bus right now. And theoretically, I don't even know who is. Let's see if anybody is for them. O'Neal Cruz, 2.7 more. So if he was a Cub, he would be behind three other guys. I mean, that's how dominant the Cubs offense has been. So you ride that. Anytime that you have teams, and the other thing we should say here too, the Cubs have been winning. They're in the last 20 games, they're 12-8, and the Pirates are 6-14. So you want to compile teams that are winning, and then that have good offensive edges. And in this case, you got a good pitcher on the mound, so there's no reason not to bet Cubs. So I think Cubs are the right side, the right spot. I think you play the Cubs, and I'm trying to see what else do I have going on if these early games. Yesterday I talked about the Royals. I bet the Royals at 1:00, so we couldn't talk about them, but we did talk about that it doesn't matter about doubleheaders. They don't worry about that shit no more. That effect is gone. That old philosophy that all you had to do was wait and find out who won the first game and bet against them in the second one. Well, don't do that. Sports books set it up that way, but don't do that. Bet the team that's going to win. And here we go again. These lines are shaded towards Cleveland, and they shouldn't be. They just shouldn't be. So this is another one of those spots where my numbers are going to tell you that my numbers don't like Cleveland at all because they've won so many games that they shouldn't have won. So my number is going to show this as Kansas City minus 104 and Cleveland like a pick'em. Now I get it. There's probably a good chance that my numbers are way too shaded that way. So even if you backed it off a little bit, it ain't 160. Cleveland's minus 160 today. Gavin Williams is pitching for Cleveland. Cleveland, he's pitched 10 times. And in those 10 starts, he's won 3 times. Cleveland's won 3 times in those 10 starts. And you're telling me he's a minus 160 against the Royals? I don't think so. It's way too high. So this is what we do. You bet value. So you bet the Royals again. That's what you do. You bet the Royals. I don't care who's pitching. I know it's Lorenzen. But did you know Lorenzen's made 22 starts? He's won 8 of those 22. Of course, most of that was with Texas, and they suck. So then you come out and go, well, how's he been pitching? Well, in his last 28 days, he's a 74 SOPS plus. Holy shit. 26% better than an average pitcher. And Williams is a 122, 22% worse than an average pitcher. And he's terrible at home. Like really bad. 177, 77% worse than an average pitcher at home. Give me the Royals. Just give me the Royals. Just shoot them in my veins and I'll just take them. Because there's no reason that this line should be that way. A and B, it keeps going that way. People are still betting on Cleveland. Look, I don't know how many times I got to say it. Cleveland is not going to win this division. I've been saying it for 3 or 4 weeks, a month. I don't know how long I've been saying it. They don't got enough good pitchers. And their offense isn't very good. Cleveland is not going to win the division. So they're not. They need to hope that Boston doesn't wake up. Because if the Boston Red Sox wake up and they go on a 10-1 run, for example, Boston will catch Cleveland and knock Cleveland out of the wild card. That's what it's going to take. But the reality is Cleveland is nothing more than a 500 baseball team. Hey Jay Barry, how you doing, man? Good to hear from you. He says, awesome matchup breakdown. So look, all I'm trying to tell you is the line in this game is not right. So you bet your edge, and that's the edge. You bet your edge. The line's wrong. The market's moving it in that direction. It's wrong. Will it win? I don't know. Bet it 1,000 times and it will. We do this all the time, right? Like I broke on here that one time. Say, oh, breaking news. Look, we got stuff on sale. Well, that's what this is. This is, you can buy the Kansas City Royals on sale. I mean, that's just the way it works. I'm trying to get to these games at 6:40 so we can get these on here. The next one I wanted to talk about, you know, Johnny Cueto's still pitching, right? I mean, holy shit. If Johnny Cueto didn't go put extensions in his hair, he'd be gray like me. Or at least I think he would. So Johnny Cueto's not a bad dude, man. I like Johnny Cueto. He's just goofy and he doesn't have the stuff anymore. But he's pitching tonight. And he's pitching against Detroit. And nobody's heard of this kid that he's pitching against. His name is Herter, Hurter, Herter. It's a left-handed pitcher. And truth be known, he's pitched a few games already. He hasn't started any. He's been kind of their long relief guy. They've had some issues with starting pitching, so they've had bullpen games. And then Herter, he's been the bulk guy. Well, he's now starting tonight, so his name's listed. The Angels are the second worst team in the American League. They are the second worst team in the American League. Obviously, the White Sox are the worst team in any league, but they're the second worst team. They're worse than the A's. They're worse than all these teams. And what's interesting to know about where they are, you know, we just talked about how bad Pittsburgh was on offense. Holy shit! The Angels, they're 29th out of 30 teams on offense, 23rd in isolated power. They are 39% worse than an average offense in weighted runs created plus. They only got two guys that are helping their offense at over 1 WAR, but none of them over 2 to like driving the bus. They're not reliant on those guys. And 5 guys pulling away. But here's the difference. Detroit ranks 3rd in offense, 8th in isolated power, and they got 7 guys. 7 guys out of the 9 guys in the lineup that are hitting. They got Veerling, McKinstry, which whatever. I mean, he's not going to be there that long. But they got Veerling, McKinstry, you got Keith and Meadows and Torkelson. And guess what? They're all the young guys. And when all the young guys are hitting all at one time, holy cow, it's just oh my. And Riley Green's on the rise. Riley Green's coming. He's just off that list. So that's another young guy. And here you go. You know, we just said, hey, it was like 18-0 that score for the WAR on the Cubs against the Pirates. Well, when you break these guys all down, it's 14.5 for the Tigers, minus 6.6 for the Angels. So that gap's like 20 points. It's like, holy smokes, 20 points of WAR. So they're 20 wins better on offense. Oh my, that's just bone-chillingly amazing. You got to bet the Tigers, and especially against Johnny Cueto. So situationally, just so you get an idea about Herter for a second. He's pitched 4 games, 17 innings, so he's like 4 or 5 inning guy. He's only given up 13 hits. He's only walked 1 guy, so he doesn't put guys on base. He doesn't give up many hits. His SOPS plus 56. He's 44% better than an average pitcher. And I don't grade Cueto yet because he doesn't have enough starts. I give him at least they got to have 40, 45 at-bats to kind of get a better picture of really what they're doing. He doesn't have that yet. But it's Johnny Cueto, man. So Detroit Tigers, I get it. They're minus 148, 149. People don't like to pay that number, but what if I told you the right number? The number should be 167. 167. So there's some value there. And you know, when I looked at it and I go, holy crap, there's a lot of value, especially in the offensive side. And you just need Herter to pitch halfway decent. They're going to get to these guys. They're going to hit them. So all they got to do is win. So there you go. Bingo, Detroit. Boom, boom, boom. Just like that. We got 3 plays right at 640. I don't have something in that Philadelphia game. My numbers tell me Philadelphia is the right side. Nola's pitched like junk. So the problem with that is that you can't rely on him to get out until he does. So one of my favorite sayings is don't ask somebody to do something they're not doing, or don't ask somebody to do something they've never done. Well, Nola's pitched really good. He's not pitching really good now, so don't ask him to. Don't ask him to pitch really good until he is. And when he is pitching really good, then you can ride him and be all over him. But until then, you can't. Now, because his batting average against, for example, if I pull it up real quick, beep, 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 starting pitchers, there they are. Nola, batting average against 331. League average is like 240. That's like 100 points better. I mean, holy shit, they're hitting him like crazy. 1.71 whip rate. You cannot be betting on a guy to win a baseball game that allows that many guys on base. That's like almost 2 an inning. That gives the opponent so much opportunity to beat you, and you can't. What's interesting is, you know, Nola's not the biggest strikeout guy, but he is a strikeout guy. I mean, but he's not right now. He's in the worst 25% of strikeouts. So that's balls in play for the other side. So I don't like Verlander either. Like Verlander pitched halfway decent in his return, and he still got beat. And you know, he lays it in there, and they hit home runs. And you know, the Phillies can do that. They're not. Neither one of these teams offensively are a juggernaut right now. They can be, but neither one of them are. So you got to sit there and go, well, what do? Well, you just bet another spot. That's what you do. You pass this game on and say, okay, well, let's find another one. So that led me to going down to Toronto and Boston, because my numbers love Boston today. My numbers loved Boston yesterday. But Boston lost twice to Toronto in a doubleheader. Are you kidding? How can you lose to Toronto twice? I mean, I get it. Toronto's hitting. They're actually the number 1 offense in baseball. So they're hitting. But, man, they don't got any pitchers. And, you know, they're throwing Rodriguez today, and he's been kind of spotty, and right now he's not in a good spot. But Criswell, man, he was good for a while. Like he's built up all of his data, statistics, and his numbers in the first half of the season. Everything beyond, you know, All-Star break has been awful. So I don't there's nothing you can not. My score predictor thinks there's going to be like 8 million runs in this game, I think. When it came out, let's see, what did it say? It says Toronto 8.8 runs, Boston 5.1, like 14 runs. That could happen because both of these pitchers are hittable. Problem that I see with that is Boston's not really hitting right now. I did see Devers isn't playing today. So it's just, you know, these teams, and it's just weird. I shouldn't say weird. I know how it works. I played. So it's amazing at how cyclical things are. So Toronto couldn't score runs forever. They couldn't pitch forever. Their bullpen was terrible forever. Now it's all kind of clicking for them. Boston, but just off the wall, hitting the ball everywhere. All their guys were hitting, and now they're not. So it's all kind of cyclical. But when you're betting, you got to know when those cycles are on and when they're off, right? So if they're the number 1 team in offense to the Toronto Blue Jays, you do not bet against them. You don't do that. You don't do that to any number 1 offense, no matter who's number it is. I remember Oakland A's were on there. We were on Oakland A's all the time. Every team goes through all this except for the White Sox. Every other team goes through all this, and even the White Sox should have. They just haven't. I don't know why. Well, I guess I do know why, but they got a morale issue, and they got an ownership problem. It's deeper than on the field there, and the on-field play is drastically affected by how that team is being run by the manager on the field, by the general manager in the clubhouse or in the booth or the stands or wherever, and the ownership. That team has a big black cloud over it and will stay that way until they change those functions and breathe life into them. And I'm not saying that Seattle was that way, but it probably was to a degree. They recognized Scott Service was, whatever Scott Service was to that team. They got rid of him. They're 3-1. I'm not saying that, he's putting in Dan Wilson's the total answer, but the way those teams have played and the way Seattle has won games, you can see the momentum shift in the aura and the energy change in how the team plays. And the White Sox just have never had it, haven't had it now for a few years. You can't tell me they haven't had halfway decent players. Eloy Jimenez with Moncada and Lewis Robert and Vaughn. All these guys were supposed to grow up and be really good players, and they had pitchers. It's just poorly run team, and because of that, you see it the way it is, and because of that, they make me a liar. And what I mean by that is every year at the beginning of the season, I have this thing, and I say it all the time. And I say it to my wife, and I say it to every single team, every Major League Baseball, they're going to win 50 games. And every single team's going to lose 50 games. Every one of them. And they're all going to have little streaks in there of where, if you're losing these games, you might lose 2, 3, 4 in a row. You might win 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. It's the other 60 games of those that makes your season. So every single one wins 50. Every single one loses 50. But the White Sox, I don't think are going to win 50 this year. So it makes me a liar. So I think it'll be the first time in, 80 years or something like that the team hasn't won 50 games. But whatever, it is what it is. I guess you just have to suck it up and go with it, right? And that reminds me of the game today. Why aren't people all over the Rangers today? Why don't you just keep betting against the White Sox every day? You're going to make money every day that you bet against the White Sox. I get it. You look at it and you go, oh, it's Heaney and Crochet. I don't like Heaney. And Crochet's really good. Well, Crochet isn't any good. You got to pay attention, right? Crochet was good at the beginning. He's a relief pitcher last year. They stretched him out and they made him a starter. He's done. I don't know if you've been watching. He pitches 3 or 4 innings a game now. He's been doing that for a month and a half, and he's been getting hit like crazy. His SOPS plus, by the way, just throw it out there. His SOPS plus is 175. Corbin's the worst one at 179. And then Crochet, over the last 28 days, he's 75% worse than an average pitcher. So why aren't we betting Rangers? Well, I'm not betting Rangers because remember how we said how this team was 25th in the game and this team was 29th in the game? Rangers are dead last in offense. They're 30th. It's just pathetic. The World Series champions from last year can't hit. And, I find that the Seattle Mariners went out, made a managerial change. Now, I don't expect the Texas to make a managerial change, but somewhere down the line, they got to figure out what's going on with that offense because those are guys that can hit. Marcus Semien is a former MVP. Seager is an MVP. They got the young stud kid Langford. They got Josh Smith who hits. They got Young back. They got Adolis Garcia in that lineup. These are just, I mean, Jonah Heim can hit. They got guys that can hit. So why they don't hit, that's a problem that the hitting coach is supposed to fix. It's not supposed to sit back and go, it's okay for us to bat whatever we bat and be dead last in baseball on offense. And you can't do that. I would be willing to bet that that's why Scherzer has basically said, I'm hurt. I'm not going to pitch right now because, what's good. He's just going to rest. He's going out there. They're 11 games under 500. There's no shot to make the playoffs. What's he going to do? Just go out there and, pitch till his arm falls off? He'll wait. DeGrom's on his way back. So they'll have Tyler Mahle, DeGrom, and Scherzer next year, plus Bradford and Eovaldi. So theoretically, as long as those guys stay healthy enough to make it through a season, and John Gray, those guys make it through a season, and then they figure out how to hit, the Rangers will be good again. But, whatever. I guess it is what it is. This year was just one of those. It got away from them before they made any choices and decisions to go do anything. But we do need to get – so I wanted to make a comment about this Atlanta and Minnesota game. I was on Minnesota yesterday, and what an embarrassing loss for me. But that happens from time to time. Ober is their best pitcher. Ober was really good. Ober got shelled yesterday. And again, sometimes these games get away from a manager before they do anything about it. He gave up 4 runs in the first inning. He kind of got roughed up there. I think the first 4 guys, I think that's how they scored the 4 runs. It was a home run, 3-run home run, or a 2-run home run, and some couple hits and stuff, and he just got blasted. Okay, then they get him out, and then they come back and score 1. So it's 4-1. Okay, well, it's a little bit competitive. Well, holy shit. He gets the next couple of guys out in the lineup, and then he can't get anybody else out. They scored 5 more times before they finally took him out. Well, they didn't take him out. He got an out, and then the rains came, and I was like, maybe the gambling gods will be lucky on me this time, and they'll rain this game out. Of course, that didn't happen. They went back and played. But I will say this, that the Twins scored 6 runs yesterday. And I only say that in a sense that if you were to tell me before the game started that the Twins were going to score 6 runs and they had Bailey Ober on the mound, I would have bet them all day long. I would not have said, the Braves are going to go score 10 runs. The Braves offense has been so inconsistent. You know how inconsistent it is? Here's a good stat for you. The Atlanta Braves are 22nd in offense. They have 1 guy in their entire lineup right now. 1 guy, and it's not Ozuna this time, but it's 1 guy who is over 1 WAR. And that's Merrifield. Merrifield is driving the bus for the Atlanta Braves offense. They got 4 guys that's pulling away from that lineup, and they're just an average at best offense, an average at best team. The lineup is not very good. So, they're scoring 2.7 runs a game. And that includes those 10 yesterday. So I sit here and go, there's no way the Minnesota Twins should have lost that game. Now, having said all that, today's game is unique. And it's not because Schwellenbach, really long words, against Woods Richardson, really long words, like when you have to type out Woods Richardson and Schwellenbach, it's like the longest setup of pitchers there is. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at today is I looked at this game, and when it comes right down to it, I have a hard time with where's the value, because my number says Minnesota minus 107. And it's 105. So there's not really any value there. Both pitchers are decent. Schwellenbach's actually a lot better than most people think he is. He's really good. And I like betting on him. But but he started off poorly. I think he lost like his first 4 games or something like that. But currently, Schwellenbach is 6-8. So if you take off those first 4, he's 6-4 out of his last 10. That's pretty good. And I'll take that from a guy like that. He's an SOPS plus 66, so he's 34% better than average pitcher. Woods Richardson's an 80, 20% better than average pitcher. My fear is I can't support Minnesota because I think Woods Richardson's is about out of gas. I said this the last time he pitched. I'll keep saying it. He's hit his innings from last year. So everything he's into now is beyond what he's ever done before. And he's a young kid. So I don't know how far they're going to go with him. I don't know what they're going to end up doing. They might pitch him until they can't pitch him much more. But they're going to need offense. And my opinion today is they're going to have a hard time getting the offense against Schwellenbach. So I think both teams are going to struggle on offense, to be honest. So, yesterday one team scores 10, the other team scores 6. I don't think you're going to see 16 today. I think you're going to see much less. But I wanted to hit that game just because it's kind of an important game. But here's a game I think you can probably play. This is San Diego and St. Louis. And we talked about this yesterday too. And we said, hey, you don't want to bet on Gibson. You want to bet on Vasquez yesterday that nobody wanted to bet. Well, what happened? Vasquez pitched halfway decent. Gibson gives up the stuff. Padres go win the game. So today you have a little different matchup in a sense that you got Dylan Cease on the mound. Mr. No-hitter. And you got Miles Michaelis on the other side. Now, I will say this. Miles Michaelis surprised me, and this is one of the greatest things about doing things in segments of time. He's been a bad pitcher all season. He hasn't been good. He hasn't even been average. I think his game score for the year is like 47. Let me look. 48. He's a 48 for the season, so 50 is average. So he's below average pitcher. But over his last 28 days, I was really surprised to see that his numbers were halfway better. And what I mean by halfway better is if I go look at his numbers, for his last, his metrics, 3.63 xFIP, 4.04 Sierra. That's average. It's in Major League Baseball average. And then Cease, 3.67, 4.08. They're the same numbers. Matt says, hey, Scott, do you think the Royals bullpen is good enough for playoff baseball? The bullpen is what worries me. Thanks. Let me tell you, over the last 14 days, and I know it's the 14 days, the bullpen has pitched 34 innings for Kansas City. They've given up 42 hits and 6 home runs and 12 walks. They're one of the worst bullpens going. So here's my thing about the Royals. I think the Royals stay in games because they have pitchers that can keep them in the games. Reagans is the only one who has 96, 97, 98 mile an hour stuff. Lugo does not have that kind of stuff. He's got good stuff. I mean, he gets outs. He's a veteran guy on the mound. Walker's been pretty good. Singer's been pretty good. But they all, like when you go look at their stuff plus numbers, the stuff doesn't grade out except for Reagans. So in the playoffs, your aces are what separates teams from other teams. So I don't think that you can sit there and go, over a course of 162 games, you keep throwing out guys that can pitch, you got an advantage. You just do. I mean, look at the guys that are pitching today, right? You got Cueto on the mound. You've got Herter on the mound. You've got Corbin still sticking around. You've got Criswell pitching today. You got Munoz for Miami, who's the worst guy in the world pitching. So every team has all these guys that are stick-arounders that have to help them get through innings because they play 162 games. The Royals have the advantage that they can just throw these 5 guys out there and they can bring up Marsh or they can do whatever and have 6 or 7 guys, however deep they have to go. But they've got quality through the season. When you start to break it into a series, now you need to have dominant stuff. You need to have swing and miss stuff. You need to have stuff that gets the outs to control the opponent's offenses. And you're not, you don't want to rely on your defense. You need to get strikeouts. You need to get outs and be dominant on the mound. So where I think the Royals are strong is they're strong in the sense that they're built to make it into the playoffs through a season of 162 games. I don't think they're strong enough to make a big run for a championship. It's kind of even like the Astros, right? You sit there and you go, well, what the Astros have? Well, Framber Valdez is pitching like lights out right now. I mean, he's got his game score back up. It's closer to I think it's getting closer to 60. He's been a 60 over the last month or so, but now he's throwing 95, 96, 97. He's getting the 60% ground ball rate that makes him really good. And then you have Brown that can throw 95, 96 and get the strikeouts. And you have Verlander's just got the experience, and he throws 95, 96. I don't like him that well, but then you turn it over to a bullpen that's structured to have a lot of flamethrowers that come out of that bullpen. It's a lot different. So they only got to go 5-6 innings, and then all of a sudden bullpen, and you're good. And the other problem that I think the Royals have, even though MJ Melendez has been sort of a heroic hitter for them to a degree in spots. I mean, he seems to hit big home runs and win games for them. You can't. I don't think you can rely on Sal Perez to not chase a pitch that's 4 feet outside. I don't mean that disrespectful. I'm just making that up in terms of that term, but he doesn't swing at strikes. Pasquantino has to be on or he's an out. And you got Bobby Witt Jr. and that's what you got. So I think that the Royals are in the playoffs. I think they're going to make it. I think it's between the Royals and the Twins to actually win this division. And because they have the pitching depth of every 5th day to go out there and throw somebody that's halfway decent, they got a good chance at this. I mean, they really do. They got a good chance at this. But when they make it, I think that's where, depending upon who their matchup is, and I'm almost hesitant to say that it almost doesn't matter, but because if the other team that they're facing, say they got to face the Orioles or somebody like that, well, the Orioles have aces. The Orioles have guys that go out there and get outs, and they're deeper, right? If they can get Rodriguez back, right? You got Burns and then Rodriguez. I think they'll be just fine coming out there and competing. And then the Royals are dogs to those guys. I think the Royals will be dogs to the Yankees. I think the Royals will be dogs to the Astros. So good question. I know you asked me about the bullpen, and I'm going to answer with this one deal with you. They made a great deal with the Oakland A's to get Urseg. Urseg's really good, but I think they'll throw his arm off because they got to throw him almost every day and every spot that they get in. And, he hasn't been like closer because they've used him when they needed him. And, I think one day they came in and they used him in like the fifth inning because they had to get an out. And that's what he does. He goes out there and throws, 96, 97 miles an hour, get outs. He's the only guy they got that does that. So, I think the Royals are in trouble when they make the playoffs. So hopefully that answers your question that way. But this Cease game, I like San Diego in this game. And the reason is that San Diego's offense is decent. I think San Diego's offense is kind of weird to try to tell you how good it is, because it's good. They statistically are great at a lot of things. Like right now, offensively, the San Diego Padres, they rank 8th in baseball in offensive WAR. The problem that I have with that team is they're so inconsistent as to who's doing what. Like Cronenworth, that's third. He causes outs, man. He hits into double plays. He's not a very clutch hitter. Now Profar is, and this is the first time he's ever been like this. Profar's been having a great season, probably the best season he's ever had. And, Rookie of the Year candidate, Jackson Morrell has been great. Those and Machado is supposed to be an MVP player. Well, he's not doing MVP things. He's kind of up and down. He strikes out all the time. He hits into double plays. So I'm a little bit worried about what San Diego really is. But I will say that they play with these big games, and I think they play the Dodgers coming up this weekend, so that'll be interesting. They're trying to track down the Dodgers. I think they play them coming up in the next series, so it'll be interesting to see how much juice is there, how much energy is there, and what they look like, because the Dodgers are getting healthy, the Dodgers are getting fun. The Dodgers are getting to be the best team in baseball again. They just need some more pitchers. The Dodgers need to get their pitching fixed before they go in, because they need Glass now. They need Yamamoto. They need Flaherty. Look, you can't tell me that if you got in a month, right? And if these guys can last just a month, that Glass now won't be one of the best pitchers that they have available to anybody in a series, and follow them up with Yamamoto and Flaherty. And then you throw the offense that they got in there. Holy crap! I mean, the Dodgers are going to be tough to deal with in a series. So, but they got to get there. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs. I'm just saying that they need to be the division-winning champs. They don't want to go in as a wild card and be forced to be out of order and out of sequence and all that stuff against the other teams. So they got to hold off the Diamondbacks, and they got to hold off the Padres, and they got to get there. But the Padres today, I think, you're looking at a Cardinals team that's a 500-ish team. They've been that way all season. Jeff and I had a conversation. I can't remember if it was 2 months ago or whatever. But every single time I look for Cardinals data, they're always in the middle. They're in the middle on offense. They're in the middle on pitching. They're in the middle on bullpen. They're in the middle on everything. They don't have superstars. They got superstar names, but they don't have superstar performances. Their pitchers aren't superstars. They're just average at everything, the Cardinals. So average wins every once in a while. But you've got Miles Michaelis today that will be helpful to the Padres offense in this way. Go back over here. There we go. So Miles Michaelis, his issue, and I just said earlier before we got off on a tangent there, he has the same metrics right now, not for the season, but right this minute over the last 30 days. He has the same metrics that Cease does, right? Remember, Cease threw the no-hitters, and Cease was throwing one-hitters and doing all this stuff. Well, he's had a little rocky landing from those events. So he's not been that Cease. In fact, you can always tell what this Dylan Cease is versus that one. That one has like 13 strikeouts per 9 innings, and his walk rate's under control. This one, his strikeout rate's 9.5, and his walk rate's 4.5 per 9 innings. He makes mistakes, and maybe he just has a hard time with his delivery and getting the ball in the same spot or something. I don't know. But what I will say is he's had a game score of 45, 37, 47, 55. It's time for him to have a good game. So he's progression ripe. He's due for one of those spots where he should pitch very well. So I'm expecting a good performance from Dylan Cease tonight. That said, what disadvantage Michaelis has, he doesn't have an out pitch. So he can't strike guys out. It's a 6.6 strikeouts per 9 innings. It's almost the worst 25% in baseball. And his batting average against 294. He was walking guys, so he's not walking guys right now. So his whip rate's only about 1.4. But that's kind of getting up there to almost 1.5. You start walking guys, you're at 1.5, getting closer to 1.6, and that's when you're really starting to be trouble. But that's his issue. He doesn't have a way to put guys away. So he's going to be reliant on where he puts the ball and the batter hitting the ball to a fielder. And what if they don't? Well, then he's not going to get the outs. Hence, his batting average against is 294. That's his issue. And his mistake rate is minus 0.39. He makes mistakes. He's made mistakes all season. His season numbers minus 0.69. So I think that's where you go and say, well, San Diego can take advantage of that. Cease is really in for a good spot. And look, here's what I'll say. When Cease is throwing 13 strikeouts per 9 innings and not walking guys, he's hard to hit. And the Cardinals offense that's just average, a solid pitcher can dominate that kind of a lineup. So I'm expecting Cease to win this game, and I think the Padres are a pretty good play. I don't think there's a whole lot of value in the play. Where is it? San Diego. Well, what are they? Minus 138, something like that. My number was 157, so that comes out to a 5% EV positive play. So there you go. I think that's not a terrible thing to think about. And I wanted to talk about two other spots, and then we'll be done. San Francisco is playing in Milwaukee today. And sometimes these really good pitchers, in this case it's Webb for the Giants. I've never really liked him, but I understand, how sometimes these guys do pretty well. And what interests me about Webb is he's not a big strikeout guy. Most of the time, these really good pitchers are dominant strikeout guys. He's not. Now, he's at a point right now, like he's a 7.47 strikeouts. That's average. So balls are being put in play then. But what he does, no home runs in the last 30 days. 0, not 1. Walk rate, 1.45, best 25% in baseball. Batting average against, 165, and his whip rate is 0.75. That's the best in baseball, guys. Like his WPA, winning percent added, is 1.77 for the last 30 days. So Aaron Nola is 1.54 WPA for the whole season, and Webb is 1.77 for the last 30 days. He has been so dominant on where he's put the ball and making quality pitches. There is no way you can bet against him. None. It didn't matter, like even if he was playing the Dodgers or somebody that was really good on offense, this is a guy that can control that. Right now, if you go look at his deal, we talked about how good some of these guys were earlier at 53, 74, 63, SOPS plus. Logan Webb, 18. So he's 82% better than average pitcher. Okay, sign me up. I don't care who's pitching or hitting or whatever on the other side. It doesn't matter. When somebody is doing that, how do you beat it? How can you beat that? Well, I mean, you have to match it, right? That's the way you beat it. Is you match that performance, and then you win when the pitcher comes out. Well, I don't think Milwaukee's in a spot where their offense is going crazy. Well, I know they're not because I have it right here. They're 18th in offense. San Francisco's 20th in offense. So they're right the same kind of team. Right now, Milwaukee doesn't have anybody over the 2 WAR number, and the Giants have 2. Helio Ramos, he's been really good for them, and I don't know where this guy's been. He at the beginning of the season he was up there a lot. Wade Jr. He's been up there. Lamont Wade Jr. was up there, and then he's off, and then he's up, and then he's on. He has been up there for like, I don't know, the last couple months. Well, he's up there now. So I think there's value in the Giants because I think in this particular case, when I looked at Myers, and I like Myers, I thought he got off to a really bad start. Tobias Myers for Milwaukee. I thought he got off to a bad start, but he righted that ship. But he's not Logan Webb. He's a 4.26, 4.06 xFIP in Sierra, and Logan Webb's a 2.96, 3.37. I mean, it's not close. One's in the top 25% best of baseball, and the other's in the average class. So I think Tobias Myers doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And he's got a pretty decent game score. I mean, he's a game score of 54 for the season. But you know how good Logan Webb is? Over his last 7 starts, which is almost now a month and a half. Game score is 65. Holy shit, 65? I mean, guys struggle to get to these numbers. So 65. So like, we talked about how good Justin Steele was. He's a 58 over his last 7. That's great. Lorenzen's a 51. That's really good compared to what we were talking about with Williams, 47. It's amazing that these guys have these numbers, and 65 is the best one of all of them, which you would think so, right? I mean, holy shit, then being an 18 and controlling the other opponent's offense. And what's the number on this game? I think they're the underdog, right? So when you start, look, Kansas City's ahead of Cleveland. So when you look at it and you go, where's the number? There it is. San Francisco. So Myers is minus 112. So you can get Logan Webb as a dog today. San Francisco can beat anybody when they have a chance. Tobias Myers isn't an ace. He's a good pitcher, but he's not an ace. So let an ace do what aces do. Go out there and throw a game score 60 and win a game. And then you go, holy shit, that was easy. And you bet on San Francisco. And then the last spot that I wanted to talk about, where's my notes? There they are, right in front of me. This game changed. So this was the New York Mets and the Arizona Diamondbacks, and this is Manaya, and it was Eduardo Rodriguez, and then they had a pitching change, and now it's Brandon Pfaadt. That makes this change on the fly. I did it right before the show started, so I was all prepared to talk about betting on Sean Manaya, but now I'm not. I'm more prepared to tell you to go bet the other side with Brandon Pfaadt because you got a little bit of value there. But the truth of the matter is, I think you look at this game and then you make a decision, because my numbers tell me, and where's it at right now? It's at 105. Brandon Pfaadt's at 105. So minus 105, 105, or 110, whatever your sportsbook offers. And my number on the game, I think, is 125, right? And that's the new number with the pitcher, yeah. So Brandon Pfaadt was minus 125. Here's the deal. Sean Manaya, I think it was probably 2 months ago, says Kansas City Royals already went to the bullpen tonight. Lorenzen got hurt. Well, there you go. Well, at least they're ahead. But Lorenzen. I will tell you this: Lorenzen is better than what Marsh is, but Marsh has his good days. He's a 500-ish pitcher. He's a little bit below 500, but not by much. And there's times when he has big strikeouts too. I don't know. I'd have to let's look at something real quick. Where's the Kansas City Royals roster resource? So if I go down and look at this, bing. So right now, Seth Lugo, Raggins, Lorenzen, Waka, Singer, right? And then they have. Trying to see if they've got anybody on the way that they can bring up here that will help them. Let's go to the pitchers. Starting rotation, injured list. The injured list guys aren't going to help them. AAA. So down in AAA, that's let's see. Those are batters. Where's the pitchers? Here they are. So they have. Well, they don't really have. They don't. There they are, starting pitchers. That's what I was looking for. So they got Alec Marsh, which we know that they can bring up. 46. So Noah Cameron. I don't know enough about Noah Cameron, but Noah Cameron is 25 years old. He's pitching in AAA. He is rated 46th of all AAA pitchers. He is the 15th prospect that the Royals have. And again, what are we at? We're at August 27th. So September 1st, they're going to have call-ups. So we're going to have extra guys. So it'll be interesting to see who that they have. They have a guy named Jonathan Boland down there, Anthony Veziano, Alec Marsh. But it looks to me like they're one of their better guys that they could probably bring up would be this kid Noah Cameron. He looks like he's been pretty good. Alec Marsh is going to be there, so we'll just have to see how that kind of plays out. And the other thing they can do is keep an eye on the waiver wire, because there are teams that will release veteran pitchers with the idea that they can't really make trades or do too much, with the idea that a team might want to pick them up, and that. They're not going to use them next year, or there's not much value to them. And they're also being nice to the player to give them the opportunity to get picked up by a Kansas City Royals team that might need a pitcher. So I'm not sure what Lorenzen's injury was, or if it was a leg injury or an arm injury. That's too bad. He helped the Tigers. He helped the Rangers, and I don't. Down the stretch, he might have been a guy that could have really helped the Royals, but we'll see what they do. So now they're going to have to see what they can do with their bullpen. Holy crap! But whatever, it is what it is. I mean, they're facing Williams. Williams ain't no shit. I'm telling you, you can hit Williams. So anyway, I was going to tell you that this game with Arizona. I liked the line, but then when I started, and I like Fad, but I don't like him right this minute. And Minaya over the last, so he made it, what I learned was he made a pitching adjustment to his arm slot on where he throws pitches from. Since he's done that, he's been fantastic. Go back to my pitcher report. There you go. So Minaya, 3.07, 3.03 xFIP in Sierra. His FIP number is 2.39. You can't have a FIP number of 2.39 if you give up home runs, if you don't strike out guys, and you walk a lot of guys. So I can just tell you he's striking out everybody and not giving up home runs. That's what he's doing. Look, 10.74 strikeouts per 9 innings from Sean Manaea, right? Remember, he pitched for the Oakland A's and was sort of a soft tosser, left-handed guy. Well, he's not really considered a soft tosser, left-handed guy right now. He's out there throwing, 94, 95, 96 miles an hour, getting a lot of movement on the ball. Teams are batting 175 against him, 175, and his whip rate 0.87. So I think this goes to that philosophy of, look, these teams get hot, right? And when you're talking about offense, and we're talking about the Diamondbacks, they were the number one team in offense. They aren't anymore. That rotates through. Right now, it's the Toronto Blue Jays and the Chicago Cubs. Right, those teams are blah, 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 and smacking the crap out of the ball. So, he twisted his ankle. Well, thank you, Matt. Hopefully that's something that maybe he misses one start and he's back at it. So at least it's not an arm problem or an elbow problem. So anyway, when you think about where you're at with this game, Sean Manaea is a SOPS plus 44. That's pretty good, like 56% better than an average guy. That's pretty good. When you think about it, we got some good pitchers out here today. You got Steele at 63, Lorenzen was at 74, Herter's at 56, Garrett Cole's at 53, Schwellenbach 66, Woods Richardson's at 80, Webb's at 88, Heaney's at 88. I said Webb's at 88. He's at 18. And Manaea's at 44. Sean Gilbert's at 60. I mean, come on, guys. You got guys that can pitch against other guys that can't, and that's kind of what you're matched up against today. So I would stay away, even though there's value on, my opinion. My numbers say there's value on the Diamondbacks, and that's just because Manaea has been really good. Thad hasn't been as of late. He's a 119 SOPS plus, so he's 19% worse than an average pitcher. He's got average metrics, he's got average metrics. Batting average against is 295. That's not going to cut it. But the Mets haven't been really hitting either, so they kind of run into that. And I do like the Dodgers tonight. I think the Dodgers against Irvin for Baltimore sets up good for them. But he's only made one start since coming off the disabled list. He's been a below average starter. His game score for the season's 48. Flaherty's been ace-like. He's not quite there. He's at 58 for the season. He's got 3.07 xFIP Sierra, so he's pretty good on the mound. Those are not pretty good numbers. That's top 25% in baseball numbers. And Baltimore's not hitting right now. So when you can play Baltimore, and Baltimore's averaging 4.2 runs a game, they're 27th in offense. Baltimore, 27th in offense. They got they got one guy that's over one WAR, 0 guys over 2, and they're playing the Dodgers. Dodgers at home with Flaherty, and they got Irvin on the mound. I think you take the Dodgers on the run line. I did. Plus 102. I thought that was pretty good. So I kind of like that play. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for tonight. Thank you so much. We got 200 people here tonight, so that's awesome. I know yesterday I kind of snuck on because I wasn't normally on Mondays. And just so you know, I'm going to try to do this in a little different format as we get going here. Like tomorrow's show might be a little different. And I'm certainly thinking about doing a Thursday show now because we got football, man. And I got a list, and I don't know that you can really see sort of what's on my list, but these are college football games that I've got selected that I haven't made bets on yet, with numbers I'm looking for. So as these things start to happen and as stuff kind of goes, I don't think I'm going to sit here and break down every single college football game, especially right at the first games, until we have data, some numbers to go over. So I might just break them down in terms of, look, I'm trying to bet a lot of bets, college football, and there's going to be a lot of bets. Like I've made 2 already. I bet Pittsburgh and Kent State over 54.5. I did that yesterday, and I looked at it today. It's 55.5. And I bet today Florida Atlantic plus 14.5 against Michigan State. But I don't expect those numbers to hang out there like that. I got 14.5 because I think it's going to be 14 or 13.5. Okay, it could be wrong and it could get up to 15 or 16, but I don't think it will. So I'm looking at some of these spots, like Western Michigan is a spot against Wisconsin. 24.5 is the number I was looking for. I saw it earlier today at 24.5, but it was minus 120. I'm like, well, let me just see if we can get it to minus 110. And then holy shit, it went down to 23.5. So now I got to wait. So you're playing the waiting game with some of this stuff. Minnesota is plus 1.5 against North Carolina. If I can get it back to plus 3, I'll bet it. If it stays 1.5, just let it go. And you saw the list. There's probably 15 or 20 games on here, and you start looking at these games and you start going, I need the good number, or I'm not betting these games, right? So there's good spots that I don't think people are talking enough about, like. And these are games nobody's going to talk to you about. Nobody's going to sit here and go, well, Oklahoma plays Temple, and Oklahoma's 42.5 point favorites. Well, what should I do? Well, take Temple. There's certain spots that we'll get into and certain things that we're going to go. Some of this stuff is what I need, and I got 200 people on here right now. So what I need from you guys that is extremely helpful to me, I need you to start following me on Twitter so that you can talk to me, DMing me and talking to me. I need information from you guys when certain stuff's going on that I look, I'm doing baseball and this and that. I'm doing all this other stuff too. So sometimes if you guys hit me up on certain things, right? So for example, one of the things I'm looking for is Clemson plus 14. I know it was there at one point, and now it's 13.5. But if you guys know where it is, hit me up. Let me know so I can try to figure out how to get there, and how to bet it. Those are the things that having a communication structure, having a communication system helps everybody, right? I'm trying to help you guys out. I try to give you guys plays every day. Same thing's going to apply with football. But if you guys see and you go to your books and you go, oh shit, there's 14. He was looking for 14. Let me text him, all right? Or DM me, or whatever the point being is. That's the value of having communication 2 ways, right? You're talking to me, I'm talking to you, we're helping each other, we're trying to get the numbers. I'm trying to and tomorrow what I'll do is I'll put together a pretty vast list of what I'm looking for and where, and hopefully maybe you guys can help me find these numbers. And I'm going to go bet them. I'm going to bet every one of them. I might end up with 5 bets. I might end up with 20 bets. So it just is what it is. That's the way football works. So, all right, guys. So the way the format of that show is going to go is time sensitivity means baseball has to come first. Then we'll do football after baseball. And then if there's questions, obviously, if there's comments, Matt was great tonight. Thank you very much. Jay Barry, thank you. Daniel Barry, thank you. Guys, look, jump in the comments, make statements, make comments, ask questions. I appreciate it. Plus, it helps me think sometimes, I honestly, when you do this for a living and you work out of your house and your wife works, I'm home alone a lot, like a lot. Sometimes you need somebody to talk to. So it'd be great for you guys to be sitting there talking to you and doing that kind of stuff. I'm not losing my head. I'm not, but it does keep you grounded to talk to people and have people ask you questions about things, because, I try to provide information I think you want, but maybe that isn't what you want. Maybe you want something else. So just ask. I'll be glad to do whatever I can to help, and make this thing great for everybody. So anyway, let's hope we have a good night tonight. Let's go Tigers. Let's go Dodgers. Let's go Cubs. Let's go Royals. Let's go all these teams we talked about, right? Padres, Giants, all these teams, and come back tomorrow with a smile on our face. So tomorrow 6:15, same time as today. So I appreciate it, guys. Do me that big favor and follow me on Twitter so we can talk. And you can retweet my shows and you can do stuff so we can grow this. We're at 200. We're at 200. If we can get this thing up to say 400 and 500 every day, we can start selling stuff. We're getting closer, right? Yesterday's show was kind of a miss in terms of how many people were on. We only had 50 people, 60 people, I think, yesterday. But I was on a show with Jeff earlier. We did over 400. So that's the whole idea. The whole idea is to make this stuff work. You can see this little advertisement thing over. Whoops, get my finger over here. Over there, see it says Viva, right? We got a sponsor from Viva. So we're trying to do a lot of stuff. So once we can do that stuff, we can get a lot of things going on and get big producers in here and do some fun stuff. So anyway, follow me on Twitter. Hit like, retweet, subscribe. I don't know, whatever those people do, social media influencer people say all the time when they do their stuff. Do all that stuff. It really, really does help. And then secondly, if you want to be a client, just go to my website, MLB-daily.com. There's a little link at the top that says memberships or something. Click the button, and it costs you $100, and it's for a full year. So we'll have some fun. We'll learn a lot together, and hopefully go from there. So guys, let's have a great night. Thanks for being here, and I will see you again tomorrow. And thanks. Have a good night.